Alright guys, welcome back to VALORANT News. Big developments going down last night, especially on the Sentinels front. A brand new assistant coach coming into their lineup. Kaplan rebuilding the team, not just the roster, but also the coaching staff behind the scenes that trying to take Sentinels back to the top this upcoming season. Edward Gaming though, the reigning world champions. What's going on there with a couple of individuals departing from that organization? Is it already the start of the collapse of another world championship winning roster? Very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new. As always, I would greatly appreciate it. Plenty as ever to get into over in the Chinese region. We know that the Chinese region might be a key point of contention over the coming days because Aspas still needs a spot, and this is one of the key talking points in Valorant right now, where Aspas is going to end up, if anywhere. And well, this is how it stands. Yosemite, though, it seems, joining FPX, formerly, of course, of Billy Gaming, that famous team. So this seems to be their roster going forward, according to rumors. Also wanted to mention, though, what's been happening at the Red Bull home ground. So we saw, of course, not long ago in the Americas, Sentinels went to play with a rather different team. They went down to Cloud9, and now in the Pacific region, we're seeing a number of other teams come into play. Kush here, of course, just coming into RRQ, had a great map, had a dominant finish for his debut map here, 29-3 on the Sova, 29-13 on the Sova, with RRQ taking the dub on the Haven, and just best of one, so that was enough to get them the first win against DFM. They then went down, though, to Talon, 13-11, another best of one here on the Sunset, so, you know, cool to see these teams going blow for blow. The other big one, though, was T1, and this is the exciting one for me, actually. I think as of recording this, yeah, this is actually underway. T1 are currently playing Crest Gaming, so this T1 team is arguably the most exciting team in the entire region to see how they're going to get on this season, but so far it ain't looking ideal, is it? The Zeta Division squad taking down T1 on the Lotus yesterday, 13-7, pretty comfortable, and yeah, this new roster with Buzz, Idsu, Meteor, Sylvan, and Stax, pretty stacked team on paper, no doubt about it. They go down, and you know, as it stands, they're currently down. If I'll just hit a quick refresh as well. Okay, it's still 7-6, but yeah, this is obviously the, well, Crest Gaming team, definitely the roster that's meant to go down and fall out of this group and not make it through to the semi-finals, but this is going to be the game that determines whether that's going to happen. Super tough, by the way, because of the single round robin best of one groups that Talon Esports find themselves out of the playoffs by literally the one round. I mean, like, have a look at this, right? Because Talon also went down to DFM 13-10. When you add it all together, Talon were 23-24 with a 1-1 record, so they go out, a Detonation and RIQ go through. So yeah, super tough, but Zeta definitely earns theirs with a solid 2-0 start. Questionable format, obviously, but it is what it is. Edward Gaming, though, they won the World Championship, and all of a sudden, their team is not necessarily looking so good. Now, their team is going to stay the same, sure, but it's not possible, it seems, to keep hold of everyone. So, Hao Dong, who was their coach for some time, he's now gone from the organization. Also, this is true for After, who's no longer going to, basically was like on the bench or whatever, right? He's no longer going to be associated there. So Edwards, they still have their championship winning roster. Of course, they brought in Simon, and the rest is history. So Titan Esports Club, they announced the signing of After. So I think he used to be Edwards' coach, then he kind of stepped down and was like technically their sixth man, I think, for a little while before Muggle came over. But yes, After's going to be joining TEC in addition to Hao Dong as well. So this is now confirmed. Hao Dong, though, is coming back to play. So I think that's the key point here, that Hao Dong probably thought, okay, well, if I want to play again, I can't play on Edwards, so I've got to come back to another team, and it seems like TEC are going to be the destination here. So yeah, Titan Esports Club signing two members of you know, former EDG, also Abo, formerly of EDG as well, is going to be there as well. So yes, Titan Esports Club trying to form on some level Edward Gaming 2.0. Whether it works, that is another question. Let's talk coaches, though. So the rumor has it that yes, MAT head coach Happy is going to Na'Vi, of course, legendary CS player, I'm not going to lie, back in the day, and then obviously in recent times, but he's going to go to Na'Vi. Obviously, Zelsis gives his thoughts in the replies as well, but also we saw confirmation yesterday as to what Sentinels are going to be up to. So we see Kaplan sit down on the couch this time, not the chair. I think they've got rid of the chair, or they're going to use the chair only for like bad announcements. I don't really know, but yeah, Kaplan sits down. Of course, they've announced their roster for the upcoming season. They've decided that they're going to bring in additional help, though, for the team, because of course Drew Spark was removed removed from the organization. They no longer thought they needed his services as assistant coach alongside Kaplan. And look, it's interesting for Kaplan because he's the head coach, he's the decision maker. Drew Spark was on Sentinels, but he was brought on during the Psycho days, right? When Psycho was the one over there making the calls before all the drama that then eventually happens. That was, Drew Spark was a Psycho appointment on some level. So if Kaplan wants to build a team back in his own image, then they're going to make different decisions, and that's what they decide to do. So Gunter is Penguin is the new assistant coach of Sentinels. So he was formerly M80 assistant coach, and he's actually worked with a number of these guys before. I think a couple of years ago on Ghost Gaming, he worked with Kaplan and worked with John QT. So there's clearly a reason why Kaplan believes this guy is the man for the job. And it is a cool story as well, just because even a couple of years ago, Gunter was posting analysis on, his own WordPress page, and I think he was then posting them on the Reddit. But, he came up with a number of articles such as this, analyzing Sova players and how they were using Hunter's Fury and how effective they were with it and on what kind of frequency were they using it, and which players are worth keeping in mind in terms of the best with that particular ultimate. So, this is just an article that he put together a couple of years ago with all of these pie charts and bar graphs and everything that kind of analyzes the game at the time. So it's pretty cool stuff, right? And, pretty interesting to look at and read through at the time, and he's continued this up to the present day. So, yeah, here's the Penguin. This is Gunter, and he's now going to be the assistant coach for the Sentinels team going into the new season. So, yeah, younger roster, newer roster in many ways. TenZ, of course, gone. Sassy gone. Banging, narrating for those couple of roles respectively. And, potentially it's going to be a big deal. M80 say you got a great one, Sentinels. And, transitioning from M80 into Sentinels, that is seemingly a tradition which is still going very strong. A couple of final things to mention for you guys before we close out the video here. Definitely some discussion from TenZ and also from Sabrosa on the state of the game. So, Sabrosa not so happy with Neon. We know that Neon got the buff not that long ago, and has been a rather strong agent. We see even the likes of, not even, but you know what I mean, Zekin is quite often choosing, do I run Jet, do I run Raze, or is this going to be a Neon map, right? So all of those are viable, and of course if you are going to be a top quality duelist player, you need to be good on all of them. I think that's why Zekin is so powerful, is that he can run all of those roles very effectively, whereas what's been the case on Thieves is that, let's say Cryo for example, phenomenal on Jet, obviously. Good on the Chamber when that was the thing for sure. But, now it's Raze, it's Neon, quite often used in addition to Jet. And we saw Cryo the other day with a good Raze. If Cryo can have a good Neon, potentially as well, then we might be talking about, a really competitive 100T team. But I do think that kind of versatility is important at the top level. But also what are Riot going to do, because the season starts a while away from now. We're not exactly sure on the dates and everything quite as of yet, but that will come clear relatively soon. But we know what Riot tend to be like. Before the season starts, they might drop a big patch update, and Neon might be, never deleted, but, nerfed, or some changes might happen. And this is the tricky part for the pros. They practice the game now. They grind out the game with their new roster in scrims in this off-season for months. And then when the game finally and the season returns, then they might change the meta, which has happened before, and it may well happen again. TenZ, though, was given his thoughts on this, and it's been a big conversation, really, in terms of the maps that Riot have added into Valorant and how good they actually are for competitive play, because let's say in Counter-Strike, when they brought in a map like Overpass, they made updates and changes and alterations to Overpass over the course of years, and big changes at that, to try and make the game and map play a little bit better, and eventually it did, and, lots of the Counter-Strike maps are now borderline perfect in many respects because they had 10 years of iteration. Part of the reason that hasn't happened in Valorant is because the game is relatively young compared to CS, but also that's just not the way that Riot tend to do things, right? I mean, we've seen them take Split out of the rotation and then put it back in with no changes at all. And I like Split. I don't think you need to change much, but there are some things that you could consider changing, and they made a couple of tweaks, to be fair. But sometimes they'll take a map out, they'll just put it back in. It's like, Ascent is, I don't know if it really needs any changes, but certainly the new maps, they could do with some more moves. And I think we've seen it on Sunset and Lotus, like they're changing some things around, but maybe not as much as I would like to see. And certainly as far as TenZ is concerned, he doesn't think that, especially for Valorant, the bomb sites really play in the best way. We need more maps with actual bomb sites instead of just destinations where you plant. Fall back and either spray or util spam the spike. I know that people get kind of annoyed about that meta, right? You know, maps like, let's say, Sunset, you plant the spike, you run away, and then you just try and spam it from distance or use util to stop them defusing. And it's, you know, it's kind of a dead meta, and I will say, like, TenZ doesn't like that from a retaking perspective, he doesn't like that from a playing perspective, and, you know, I get it. At the end of the day, you can't blame the players from playing in the most effective way. If the map is designed such that that is the most effective strategy, that's what players are going to do. But I think that Riot maybe do need to consider the new maps they add, and even they could change current maps on some level, but some of these bomb sites, there just aren't that many spots to go to. There's not many corners to hide in, so you can't really play the site. Your best strategy is to fall back and play from afar, and I don't think that looks or plays the best. So the argument might be from TenZ, design the maps with more to do inside the bomb site, maybe a bomb site which is harder to get into, but a bomb site which has more to, you know, more corners to clear once you are trying to retake the site, which incentivizes a team to stay on the site and play, you know, the post plant from there, which is probably the way to do it. But you know, obviously the pros are just going to do what the game allows them to do in terms of what the best competitive meta is theoretically going to be. But very much interested in your thoughts as ever on all of this stuff in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, take care, and I'll see you next time.